Hi guys, this is the Overthinker and welcome to the channel. Now today Detroit Lions have defeated the Philadelphia Eagles on the road 27-24. Definitely not the best game in the Detroit Lions history, and definitely one of the more ugly wins I've seen in a while. Even more ugly than last week versus the Chargers, where we somehow escaped with a win. I guess we'll start with the offense. In the first half, they definitely did a pretty good job scoring. There was only one drive in the first half where they actually had to punt. Every other drive they scored on, so that's honestly pretty good. That's good going forward. It looks like this offense, when we're clicking, can definitely put up a lot of points. I would like to see us continue to use the same offense throughout the game, and try to get some points more in the second half. This game we only scored 7 in the second half, and yeah, we're lucky that was enough, honestly. So definitely got to score more in the second half, just overall, especially when you're playing against a team like the Eagles that can just score, right? You got to be able to score in the second half more. You got to be able to get more first downs. And yeah, overall the offense was good enough to win the game, but the defense on the other end was definitely not very good. Throughout the game, Carson Wentz was pretty much putting it in the right spot versus man coverage almost every time. They did a pretty good job. Carson Wentz definitely was able to get the ball in there. There were a lot of drops by the Eagles. I think somebody on Twitter said they had 7 drops throughout the game, which is a lot. And they also had 3 offensive pass interference calls against the Eagles. That's something that you definitely cannot rely on. For the Lions, we got to be better, because we cannot count on this kind of ineptitude every single week. Last week it was the Chargers, all the holding calls, all the pass interference. There was a lot of things that went our way last week. And this week it was the drop passes, I think, mostly, and those pass interference calls that went against the Eagles. Overall, I think the defense did not look great. And yeah, I think we were very lucky to escape with this win. You also had the blocked field goal. Basically, that's a huge play for the Eagles there, get them all the way into scoring range. Very lucky. And also, we were very lucky that we were able to somehow get Rasul Douglas on the ground, all the way back there. He was almost going to score. So, very lucky that one of our offensive linemen on the field goal team was able to get him down. Typically, you're not going to count on that. And they also had a flag on that play, kind of put him out of field goal range. So that's honestly, we're so lucky to win this game. And, they got to do better. They got to do better. I thought Rashaan Melvin, he was really good sometimes, and there also were times where he was trailing by a little too much. There also were times where he basically misplayed the ball in the air, and it was still incomplete because guys just weren't catching the ball. But there were a couple times where the ball just kind of got zipped over his head, and Carson Wentz is good at that, but you got to play the ball a little better. And yeah, Justin Coleman had a pretty good day. They didn't go after him a whole ton, but he did have a couple deflections, I think. So yeah, I thought he did a pretty good job in that man coverage. But overall, we got to do better. I think if we're playing an Eagles team that has Deshaun Jackson and Alshon Jeffrey, there's no chance the Lions win this game. I think they would easily win this game by 10-14 points if they would have had their best 2 receivers today. And you could say that definitely would affect those 7 drops they had. They had a couple drops, a lot of drops on third down. They had that drop by Dallas Goedert in the end zone, would have been a touchdown easily. So you had that. You also had our defense was able to get those 2 fumbles, right? So we had no turnovers on offense. We got lucky that Stafford, basically threw it right at Nigel Bradham, but he wasn't looking at the ball. He wasn't looking for the ball. He was just trying to play the receiver instead. Kind of got lucky on that play. That could have easily been an interception. So yeah, there definitely were a lot of things that went the Lions' way this game, and I'll take it going forward. Versus the Chiefs, if we can win a game like this, I'd be ecstatic. But I don't think you can count on that every week. It happened last week with Chargers, and it happened this week. That's 2 weeks in a row. We had a lot of penalties go our way. We had a lot of, just weird things go our way, And the second week in a row, we had a blocked field goal or punt and still found a way to win the game. That's pretty crazy. And yeah, I think going forward, if we want to beat good teams like the Eagles going forward, we're going to have to rely on the running game to get us more first downs in the second half. We're going to have to pick up first downs. If we can't run the ball, we're going to have to throw the ball, We can't have these plays where we're just kind of running up the middle and, basically taking a knee in the second half when you're only up by 10 points. You can't do that. Yeah, I mean, I think you got to see more of an aggressive play calling in the second half. Taking some more deep shots. I thought J.D. McKissick, I don't understand why he didn't get the ball after that big play. He had that 44-yard run, and then he never got the ball again. We had 86 rushing yards as an offense today, and he had more than half of that in one play. And a lot of that was him. There was good blocking, but he also broke some tackles on that play, and he did a pretty good job. I don't understand why don't you go back to him on like a swing pass or something and just try to get him involved, because obviously his speed was a mismatch for that Eagles team. So I probably would have tried to go back to him at least a couple times. You don't gotta design a whole game plan around him, but try to get him the ball after he has a play like that, I think would make a lot of sense, right? And yeah, there were times in the second half where our defensive line was getting very tired. Offense was not able to do a whole lot. We did have that one touchdown, but we punted, it looks like 5 times in the second half. Yeah, 5 times we punted, and then we had that blocked field goal, which is obviously not good. But yeah, I think overall coverage has to be better. And defensive line has to play better, but also the offense has to either run the ball or get first downs some other way in the second half, because we cannot continue to do this every week. I don't expect to have a multiple possession lead on the Chiefs, but if we do, we got to find a way to keep moving the ball, try to score. Cannot be punting 5 times in the second half versus any team in the NFL. That is a recipe for disaster. And you cannot continue to do this every week, Matt Patricia. That's 3 weeks in a row where we couldn't do anything in the second half. Outside of that one touchdown drive that we actually had, could not do anything in the second half. That's just not good enough. And I'm surprised that, versus a team like the Eagles, we came with that same game plan. Eagles are a team that definitely can move the ball, and they showed it, throughout the game. So I think in the second half you got to be more aggressive, especially with the offense. You got to get more first downs. There's no other way to say it. You're not going to win games like this going forward against good teams. You might beat the Buccaneers like this. But we got really lucky versus the Eagles here. So yeah, now the Lions are overall 2-0-1, and the Packers are still first in the division. But yeah, I think priority number 1 here is if we somehow get in the lead versus the Chiefs, we got to try to score more points. We cannot sit on a lead. We cannot squander opportunities when our offense is on the field. We got to score points almost every time we have the ball versus the Chiefs if we want a chance to win that game. It is a home game, so that will be nice, but definitely expecting a pretty tough game next week. That's pretty much all I have for this game. I thought the coverage wasn't good enough. I thought we got lucky with those drop passes, the offensive pass interference calls. You had that block in the back on the blocked field goal. Numerous plays like that. Just we got lucky, right? And we cannot rely on that going forward. I think if we want to be a playoff team, you gotta do better in the second half, especially. That's pretty much all I got. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in another video.